Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to pump. Yes, it's an essential skill and it's probably something I should have started with a long time ago, but I finally got an opportunity to go out to the pump track out in Cottage Grove, and so I did some filming, and so now I can do my fun little voiceover and explain to you how to pump your bike. And a pump track is the perfect place to learn how to get around the pump track without ever having to pedal. And when you get to that point, you know you've got it nailed. Okay, we're going to start with this graphic, and it basically shows you how to pump through rollers. So what you find on a pump track are what are called rollers. They're basically just mounds in the pump track. You find rollers and things that you can roll over, even rocks and certain things, log piles, things on the trail all the time. So this skill applies to all of those things and not just pump tracks, but the pump track is the ideal place to learn this concept of row, anti-row. So if you see this first rider on the far left, that rider is doing a row. They're pulling on the handlebars, pushing with their legs, and then as they crest the roller, they alternate and start pushing with their arms and absorbing with their legs. We'll get into this in more detail with an actual moving video that I recorded. And then you just basically repeat those steps over and over again. And what's amazing about it is you can actually accelerate by doing this without ever pedaling. And that is your goal. Okay, here is first person view of me doing the pump track on my fat bike. So even though I have this fat bike with big tires, these are 4.8 26-inch wheels and tires. So yeah, I'm able to pump without pedaling and go all the way around. It's pretty slick that I can do it on a fat bike. Now let's see me do it on my BMX bike. Okay, here I am on my BMX bike, and I'm actually going to hit the center up here and do the little hip into the berm, which is kind of fun. So the nice thing about pump tracks is you can just kind of play around and try different lines if you want, especially on one like this that has a lot of different options. One of the things you'll notice is because I'm on my BMX bike, I've got more of an ideal platform for riding this pump track. So you can tell that I'm going a lot faster than I was going on my fat bike. And even though I'm able to do it on my fat bike, I'm not as able to go as fast as I am on my BMX bike. So this is what it looks like from the side. You can see I'm doing that row, anti-row, and then I'm going to come around again and do another lap of it right here. Pretty cool. So let's slow this down and take a closer look at what I'm doing. And what's cool about this is I'm not pedaling during any of this. So let's watch this in slow motion. You can watch how I'm pulling, pushing, pulling, pushing, pulling, pushing. And if you notice the timing of my push, it's right at the top of each roller. So we're going to watch this again, and then we're going to pause right here. So you can see that as I crest that roller, my legs are bent, my arms are bent, but they're pushing down and forward into that, what you might want to call a dip between the two rollers. So this is where I'm going to gain speed. So as I come through this roller, you'll notice my legs will push down as the back wheel goes through it. Let's watch that. This is the most crucial part of the pump, where I push my legs down and I'm pulling with my arms. So I'm literally pushing down the back side of that first roller, and that action of pushing down is creating energy that propels me forward and into the next roller. Now I'm pulling up with my arms because I want to unweight the front end so it doesn't push into the front side of the next roller. So that's the idea, is you don't want your bike pushing into the front side, but you do want it pushing down into the back side and through the dip. So that's where you get the energy, but you don't want to lose the energy as you're coming up over the next roller, which is why you do the row. You're pushing your legs, pulling your arms, and then you're doing the anti-row, pushing your arms, allowing your legs to come up. I say allow to come up because you're not pulling up the back of the bike. The bike's going to come up. You're just allowing your knees to bend, because if you stayed stiff, then your back wheel would push against the front side of the next roller. So let's watch as I go through the next roller. So as you saw there, I came over the roller, and right as my back wheel crested, you see me pushing down with my legs. And so I'm in between rollers right now. So right now I'm transitioning from the anti-row to the row. So the back wheel I'm pushing down, and because my front wheel is starting to crest up the next roller, I'm already starting to pull with my arms. So that's the idea of the row anti-row, is your front wheel gets to the roller first, then your back wheel gets to the roller. So it doesn't make sense to push down on both wheels at the same time or pull up on both wheels at the same time. You need to be pushing down with your front end while you're letting the back end come up, and then you need to push down on the back end while you're letting the front end come up. That's the whole reason why this row anti-row technique exists, is a bicycle has a wheelbase and your front wheel is going to get there first, and then your back wheel is going to get there later. So by doing the same actions against both wheels at the same time doesn't make any sense, because your back wheel is not there yet. So hopefully that makes some sense to you, that because the front wheel gets there first and then the back wheel is still doing, the downside while the front end starts to do the upside, you have to treat them differently. Push with one, pull with the other. Row. Push with the other, allow with the back, anti-row. Now we're just going to finish this out with the last one, push, and then there's that little roller going into the berm. Okay, I slowed this way down. Watch my technique. Push, and then I pull up the front end while I'm pushing the back end. Now I'm pushing the front end while I'm pulling up the back end. Now I'm pushing the back end while I'm pulling up the front end. It's just alternating. Basically that's what you're doing, is you're alternating the movement. Okay, so the next thing that I want to show you real quick, just because pump tracks have berms, is I'm not going to go way into berms, but I do want to tell you that when you're doing berms, especially like on this pump track, you really got to lean. Let's show you a picture of that. Okay, so I'm just showing you this to give you this idea of how much you have to lean in a turn. You really have to lean when you're going into the corners, and if you're not comfortable with that, you want to work on your berms, because in order for this whole pump track concept to work, is you need to be able to maintain your speed through the turns. And if you pump through the rollers and then you get to the turn and you're nervous and you're holding the bike more upright and you're afraid to really lean into the corner, you're going to have a hard time on the pump track. So there are more skills than just the pumping. There is riding the berms and things like that. And I've seen a few people that are learning on pump tracks, and it's like they start to get the pump down, but then they can't maintain their speed because they get to the turn and they're afraid to lean. They're just like you gotta lean and let the bike steer. You can't turn the handlebars to steer around the berm. And what I see a lot of people do is they're a little afraid, so they keep the bike upright and they try to turn the handlebars to go around the turn, and they slide and they go really slow and they're sketchy, things like that. So you really gotta get comfortable with coming into the turn and just really leaning the bike and letting the bike turn. The more you lean, the more it's going to turn, and that can be a scary concept for some. So I just wanted to bring that up. I'm not going to get super heavy into corners and how to corner. Okay, so now let's just watch a couple of clips of me riding the pump track having fun. Try the other side. Oh, that's a lot better. That's not nearly as abrupt as this one over here. I like that. Let's do it again. Yeah. You just hip right in. Cool.